Ambassador Sarah Chen stood before the Galactic Council's imposing semicircular chamber, her hands clasped behind her back as she faced representatives from 47 different species. The crystalline beings of Xerion hummed with disapproval, while the gas-form Nathari flickered with what she had learned to recognize as contempt. At the center of the chamber, High Counselor Vextar's multiple eyes fixed upon her with an intensity that would have unnerved a lesser diplomat. "The motion before this council," Vextar announced, his translated voice echoing through the chamber, "is to classify Earth's forests as prohibited weapons of war under Article 7 of the Galactic Warfare Convention. The evidence presented by our botanical warfare experts is unprecedented." Sarah had expected many things when humanity first made contact with the galactic community 3 years ago. She had prepared for cultural misunderstandings, trade disputes, even territorial conflicts. What she hadn't anticipated was standing trial for the crime of having trees. "Honored Counselor," Sarah began, her voice steady despite the absurdity of the situation. "Earth's forests are not weapons. They are ecosystems, natural environments that have existed for millions of years before humanity even evolved." A ripple of what she assumed was laughter emanated from the Kellen delegation, their chitinous frames clicking in unison. Ambassador Zixmol of the Kellen Confederacy rose on his 6 legs, his mandibles chattering as his words were translated. "Natural? You expect us to believe that such devastatingly efficient biological warfare systems evolved naturally?" Zixmol gestured with one of his upper appendages toward the holographic display that materialized above the chamber floor. "Observe the evidence." The display showed Earth's Amazon rainforest in stunning detail. Sarah felt a moment of pride at the beauty of her homeworld before Zixmol continued his presentation. "These so-called trees release massive quantities of oxygen, a highly reactive and corrosive gas that would be lethal to 63% of known galactic species. But that is merely their passive assault." The image zoomed in to show the forest floor. "They deploy chemical weapons continuously, releasing terpenes, alkaloids, and phenolic compounds that would incapacitate or kill most galactic military units within minutes of exposure." Sarah opened her mouth to explain that these were natural defense mechanisms against insects and herbivores, but Zixmol wasn't finished. "Furthermore," the Kellen continued, "they demonstrate coordinated intelligence. Through underground mycorrhizal networks, which your own scientists have termed the Wood Wide Web, these trees share information, coordinate responses to threats, and even provide mutual aid. This level of biological networking exceeds the capabilities of most galactic military communication systems." High Counselor Vextar's primary eye swiveled toward Sarah. "Do you deny these claims, Ambassador Chen?" "I don't deny the facts," Sarah replied carefully. "But the interpretation is completely wrong. Yes, trees release oxygen, because that's a byproduct of photosynthesis, the process by which they convert sunlight into energy. Yes, they have chemical defenses and communication networks, because they're living organisms that evolved to survive and thrive. What you're describing as a weapon system is simply life." The chamber erupted in a cacophony of sounds, clicks, hums, whistles, and frequencies Sarah's translator couldn't interpret. When order was restored, it was Ambassador Thymel of the Etherian Collective who spoke next. "Life." Thymel's gaseous form shimmered with agitation. "Ambassador Chen, my species has explored 17,000 worlds across our galaxy. We have cataloged over 3 million plant species. Never, not once, have we encountered anything approaching the aggressive efficiency of Earth's forests." "Perhaps," Sarah said, a new understanding beginning to dawn on her, "that's because your species never evolved on worlds that challenged them to become efficient." The chamber fell silent. Sarah could sense she had struck upon something significant, so she pressed forward. "Tell me, honored counselor," she addressed Vextar directly, "what was the atmospheric composition of your homeworld when your species achieved sentience?" Vextar's translator was silent for several seconds before responding. 73% helium, 22% argon, 5% trace gases. "And yours, Ambassador Thymel?" 91% methane, 8% hydrogen sulfide, 1% ammonia. Sarah nodded and looked around the chamber. How many of your worlds had active tectonic plates, volcanic activity, severe weather systems, predator species that could hunt in coordinated packs? The silence stretched longer this time. Finally, Zixmol clicked his mandibles. You suggest that Earth is unusually hostile? I'm suggesting that Earth is a world at war with itself, Sarah replied. For 4 billion years, life on Earth has been locked in an endless arms race. Every organism must fight for resources, defend against predators, survive climate shifts, extinction events, and competition from other species. Our forests aren't weapons. They're survivors of a battlefield you can't imagine. She gestured to the holographic display which still showed the Amazon. These trees have survived ice ages, asteroid impacts, volcanic winters, and the rise of countless predator species. They've learned to coordinate, communicate, and defend themselves because on Earth, cooperation and intelligence are often the difference between life and extinction. And humanity? High Counselor Vextar asked quietly. What does this make your species? Sarah smiled, and for the first time since entering the chamber, she felt the confidence that came with representing not just Earth, but the crucible that had forged everything on it. We're what 4 billion years of warfare produces. When it finally evolves opposable thumbs and curiosity, she said, we're the children of a world that taught us to fight, adapt, and survive anything the universe could throw at us. We're not conquerors, honored counselor. We're graduates of the most advanced survival academy in the galaxy. The chamber remained, silent for a long moment before Vextar's multiple eyes focused on her once more. The motion to classify Earth's forests as weapons of war, he announced, is withdrawn. However, the Council hereby issues a new classification for Earth itself, Galactic Heritage Site and Extreme Environment Research Station. We have much to learn from this academy of yours. Sarah bowed formally, already anticipating the flood of research requests that would follow. Earth might be labeled too dangerous for most species to visit, but apparently that only made it more fascinating. As she left the chamber, Sarah couldn't help but smile at the irony. Humanity had spent decades preparing for first contact, worried they might not be advanced enough for galactic civilization. It turned out their planet was the one thing in the galaxy that even the trees could be considered weapons.